It was 2:30 a.m. on a sticky July night in 2024 when my German Shepherd, Titan, let out a deep, rumbling growl that yanked me from sleep. The floodlights snapped on, casting a harsh glow over my dock and the inky stretch of Lake Willow beyond it. My eyes darted to the security monitor, where two shadowy figures in cheap, dark jackets stood next to my boat. One clutched a cordless drill, its bit glinting under the light. A voice, thin and shaky, called out across the water, "County Sheriff. This vessel's a hazard. But I wasn't born yesterday. I spent 10 years as a military K9 handler, and I can spot a fake cop from a mile away. These clowns weren't law enforcement, they were pawns in a vendetta orchestrated by the HOA president from hell, Karen Mitchell. What they didn't know, and what Karen hadn't counted on, was that my dogs, Titan and Luna, were trained for moments like this. Trespassing on my land in the dead of night. That was the dumbest move they'd ever make. Let me back up. After a decade in the Army, I craved solitude. I wanted space, silence, and a slice of water to call my own. I found it in a 50-acre spread on the edge of Lake Willow, a quiet corner of northern Georgia. The property was a gem, rolling fields, a weathered farmhouse, and a rickety barn that had stood longer than most of the folks around here. Best of all, it came with unrestricted lake access and no HOA breathing down my neck. My deed was bulletproof, predating the cookie-cutter mansions of Willow Shores, the upscale community across the water. Those houses, with their identical lawns and pretentious mailboxes, were ruled by Karen, a woman who thought she owned the very breeze that crossed the lake. I hadn't even unpacked my truck when Karen rolled up in a gleaming silver Lexus SUV, so polished it practically sparkled. She stepped out, mid-50s, in a crisp sundress and enough gold jewelry to sink a small ship. Her smile was all teeth, no warmth. "I'm Karen, president of Willow Shores HOA," she said, thrusting a binder thick as a phone book into my hands. "Our community guidelines. Welcome to the neighborhood." I tried to hand it back, explaining my land wasn't part of her domain, but her eyes turned to slits. "Oh, you'll find we oversee the entire lakefront for aesthetic consistency," she said, her voice dripping with condescension. I politely declined again, setting the binder on her hood. She snatched it up, her bracelets clanking like a jailer's keys, and drove off. I knew then, this was war. Karen's first attacks were petty. Letters arrived, stamped with the Willow Shores logo, citing violations. A $50 fine for my unapproved barn, which was older than her subdivision. A $75 hit for my unkempt pasture where my horses grazed. The kicker? A $100 fine for my commercial pickup truck, a beat-up Chevy I used for ranch work. Each notice was a pathetic power grab. I didn't get mad. I got strategic. I drafted a letter citing my deed, county records, and state laws on HOA overreach. I sent it certified mail, return receipt requested. The fine stopped, but the silence felt like the calm before a storm. Karen's next target was my Boata 22-foot pontoon I'd restored from a rusted heap. It wasn't flashy, but it was mine, perfect for fishing and escaping the world. To Karen, it was an eyesore, a blight on her pristine lake. She shifted tactics, weaponizing the HOA newsletter with veiled rants about non-compliant neighbors and unsightly watercraft. Photos of my dock, barn, and boat snapped from the lake accompanied her screeds. She was trying to shame me into submission, rallying her beige army against me. Big mistake. I didn't just sit there. I called an old Army buddy, Sarah, now a cutthroat lawyer in Atlanta. She confirmed my legal standing was ironclad, but warned me to document everything. HOA tyrants like her thrive on ego, not reason, she said. They'll bleed you dry with nonsense lawsuits. So, I turned my ranch into a fortress. I installed 10 high-def, night vision cameras, covering the driveway, house, barn, and dock. Motion-activated floodlights bathed the property in blinding light. My phone pinged with real-time alerts. I was ready. Next, I needed intel. I visited my neighbor, Tom, a grizzled retiree who lived just outside Willow Shores. Over beers, he spilled the dirt on Karen. A former county planner, he'd clashed with her over her absurd demands like finding a family for a visible swing set or measuring his lawn with a ruler. Then he showed me a 1970s plat map, revealing my property extended 50 feet into the lake. Riparian rights, he said. Your dock in that water? Yours. She's got no claim. I copied that map, my secret weapon. I decided to take the fight to Karen's turf. Tom invited me to an HOA meeting, where I sat quietly as she droned about visual pollution. When she opened the floor, I stood, holding the plat map. My land isn't part of Willow Shores, I said, calm as a lake breeze. My deed predates your community by 40 years, and my property line extends 50 feet into the lake. Your photos? Taken from my water. That's trespassing. Publishing them? Harassment. The room froze. Karen's face turned crimson, her authority crumbling. I walked out, leaving chaos in my wake. I knew she'd retaliate, but I didn't expect her to go full criminal. A strange boat started lingering near my dock at night, its occupants scoping my property with binoculars. Footprints appeared along my fence. Karen was planning something big, and my boat was the target. I started nightly patrols with Titan and Luna, their senses razor-sharp. Then, that humid July night, it happened. Titan's growl woke me. The floodlights blazed, and there they were, two goons in fake sheriff jackets, one wielding a drill. I grabbed my encrypted radio, a holdover from my military days, and hit the PA system. You're on private property, under surveillance. Drop the drill and leave, or I release my dogs. They froze, stammering about being sheriffs, inspecting a hazard. I didn't buy it. You're trespassers committing a felony, I boomed. I radioed Sheriff Daniels, then gave the command, on riff. Titan and Luna shot out like missiles. The tall guy screamed, tripping and losing the drill to the lake. Luna pinned him, teeth bared. Titan cornered the other, who surrendered in tears. It was over in seconds. Sheriff Daniels arrived, lights flashing. The goons spilled everything. The HOA lady, Karen, paid us to sink the boat. The sheriff, who'd once brushed off my complaints, now saw the truth. I need that footage, he said, respect in his voice. I handed over crystal-clear video, complete with their confession. The next morning, I delivered a dossier to the station. Every email, the certified letter, Tom's plat map, and an affidavit from him about Karen's harassment. It was a slam dunk. By noon, Tom called giddy. Deputies just cuffed Karen on her porch in her bathrobe. The neighborhood erupted. Her lies unraveled. Her fake cop scheme made her a pariah. At an emergency HOA meeting, I revealed more. Karen's landscaping payments went to her husband's shell company. Fuel expenses for the HOA's golf cart matched her Lexus's mileage. And a $1,000 cash withdrawal, labeled legal contingencies, funded her goons. The crowd turned furious. Karen wasn't just a bully, she was a thief. In court, the evidence buried her. Facing conspiracy, criminal mischief, and impersonation charges, plus embezzlement, Karen took a plea. 5 years probation, $25,000 in HOA restitution, and a $12,000 fine to me. A restraining order banned her from my world. Her enablers quit the HOA, and Tom, reluctantly, became president. He passed a resolution affirming my rights and issued an apology. Karen's house sold at a loss, her reign in ruins. Now, I'm out on my pontoon, drifting on Lake Willow. Titan and Luna lounge at my feet, the water lapping softly. A sleek boat passes, its driver waves. Catching anything? He calls. Just peace, I reply. He grins. Thanks to you. I lean back, the sun warm on my face. Karen's chaos is gone, replaced by quiet victory. Sometimes, the only way to stop a bully is with cold, hard proof and a couple of damn good dogs. So what do you think? Was I too harsh on Karen, or did she deserve every bit of it? Have you ever dealt with an HOA tyrant like her? Drop a comment with your story, and let's keep this fight against petty dictators alive. Like and subscribe for more tales of standing your ground.